Hopefully she's coming. Oh, I hope so. That's better. Hi, Danny. Can you hear me? Hi. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Is that better? Can you
I can hear you now.
Hooray! Let me just
Can you hear me okay?
Pardon?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Yeah, perfect.
Good.
Let me just play around with my camera, make sure it's all pretty.
That's okay. Oh, and thank you so much for squeezing this in. I totally understand.
No problem. No, that's totally my fault. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened this morning. Just too much, too much in a short amount of time. I'm just going to clean my screen.
You do it. That's all right. You do that.
Oh, that's so much better.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's get down to it then. What I will do, I will introduce you briefly, just saying who you are, kind of the name of your business, and then we'll go from there. And as I said on previous emails, a little bit about you, your background, how you got started up, and then kind of any challenges and ups and downs you faced along the way, and share as much or as little as you like, regards to your experiences. And then also towards the end around how we can find out where you are and what you're doing next. So it'd be good to hear that as well. So that's that. And all of this extra talking, I'll edit it off and whatever. So we'll have something that's a bit better towards the end. And one thing,
because I'm kind of looking at you down there, and so is there anywhere I need to look? Do I look?
Where you're looking at the moment is just fine. Yeah, where you're looking at the moment is just great. You're looking straight, kind of centre, so that's all good right now.
Okay, cool.
I need to check. How do I pronounce your surname? Is it Blechner?
Oh, thank you so much for answering. I get all sorts. It's actually Blechner, so imagine it's.
I did wonder. Fine. Yeah. Great. All right. So I will make a start now. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for taking time out to stop by, watch this video. Again, it's another part of the Taking Care of Her Business series, where I'm sitting down to chat with Black women in business, Black women who are really blazing a trail, who are out there doing their thing, whether there's challenges, whether it's good or bad, they are working hard and they are pushing forward. Today, I have a fantastic lady called Daniella Blechner. And Danny, or Daniella, is a publishing business owner, and I believe it's Conscious Publishing is the name of the business.
Publishing, yeah.
Streams Publishing, and she's very, very much focused on obviously publishing people's stories, but also empowering people to tell their stories as well. So hi, Daniella.
Hello. Hi, how are you doing?
Yes, I'm good, thanks. And how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm really good.
Good. So tell us more about your business and how you got started.
A little bit about my business. So my business is called Conscious Dreams Publishing. I call myself a book journey mentor because we assist authors, mainly women, through the publishing process to help them to get their powerful messages and stories out there. So don't call myself a book coach or a book mentor, because I want to get across the idea that publishing a book is very much a journey before the writing, during the writing, during the publishing process, and then the aftermath, the promotion and the marketing. It's all a journey. So we provide bespoke publishing and mentoring services to authors from all over the world who want to have professional published books, Behind me are just some of the 55 books that we have published over the last
Wow.
years. We've also
Brilliant.
visited over 180 authors and delivered 28 workshops. And I absolutely love what I do. I'm passionate about providing a platform for authors to get their unseen, unheard stories out there on the global scale.
Brilliant. And just a little bit with regards to you and your background, I mean, were you always in some kind of a writing or authoring business background, or was this something that you had to try into?
No, totally not. I mean, it's funny how it started in the sense, you know, when I was 4, obviously I wasn't working when I was 4, but when I was 4, I remember being asked, you know, what are you going to do when you're older? And wasn't even a question. It was always, I'm going to be an author, because I didn't have those limitations and conditions placed upon me. And I remember saying, you know, I got this written piece when I was about 10, actually. I said that, you know, I'm going to be a vet, first of all. Didn't happen. And then I'm going to like write and publish my own books and stay at home all day and publish when I retire at 40. But the truth is I published 7 books before my 38th birthday. So I started a bit earlier. So it's always been a passion of mine. So I worked in film and TV for a little bit. So, you know, writing behind the scenes, all of that sort of stuff, directing short films. So that was my passion. That was my love. After that career change of direction, I went into teaching, which is where obviously I get my mentoring skills from. And then the publishing really came about through, you know, publishing my own book, Mr. Wrong, which is somewhere on the shelf. No, it's not. So that was my very first book that I published in 2012. So that book's a collection of stories written by women across the world who've encountered this Mr. Wrong character. But really, it's about looking within, looking at our belief systems that we have about love, relationships, ourselves, and challenging and questioning those. And taking responsibility for our actions. So I had a lot of women's stories in that book. And my initial thing is I wanted to go the traditional route. You know, I did everything that they tell you to do, write the query letter, send off 10 pages, do this, do that. And eventually I became quite disenfranchised with it all, because it was all very much like, you know, you're very talented, you're very this, you're very that, you're witty, funny. However, always a however, we don't know if there's a market for this, or we're looking for somebody who's got more of a platform, or, you know, you haven't got an agent.
Right.
And so I knew I had to honor these stories. And so I realized that I wasn't actually waiting for a response. I was waiting for validation. And so I published it myself through my own company. And just organically from there, I had so many women asking me to, you know, hook them up with editors or typesetters. And I was doing all the connecting. Then it suddenly dawned on me, why don't I fuse my mentoring and teaching skills with, and my knowledge of publishing, with actually setting up my own publishing company and assisting people through the journey so that they feel empowered. And that's really what I've been doing from 2016.
Wow, that is some really powerful stuff in terms of sort of how you're sort of talking about how you seem to have made a transition from the initial skills you had, building up, and then when people were asking you to do certain things for them, then it gave you that light bulb moment that, okay, this is how I can be helping people. And when you said the word sort of, you know, sort of honouring their stories and empowering and those kind of words, I think are the sort of, to me, the bits that jumped out. So was it a case of, like, for you, that it was a case of, like, first of all, having to honour or empower yourself to think that you were good enough, or to step forward to think, okay, I can do this? I mean, how did you kind of make that sort of step?
I think writing the book, first of all, one of the things I always teach my mentees is that you've got to know why you're writing the book. Otherwise, it just becomes writing. And sometimes, especially if you're writing a life story, I've got little snippets of my life in there, but it's more about a journey of self-discovery and offering, you know, there's exercises in there to help women to evaluate their own choices. Lots of more non-fictiony sort of stuff in there. So because my why was to unite, inspire, and empower women and give them a platform to share their stories, but also a place where they can go onto a journey of self-discovery. And I felt there's so many books out there that tell us as women how to behave, what to wear, even what to say, I don't know, do or not do, how to play games in order to get in hand, but nothing that tells us how to love and honour ourselves and to evaluate our choices and honour our values. And because that was what really stuck firm with me, I believed in that, I was deeply rooted in that, and speaking to more and more women and hearing their stories, I couldn't not do it. Do you know what I mean? So I got to that place where it became, it's not about you anymore. When I initially said, well, I'm going to write a book, I never would have imagined plastering my face in a blog and, you know, divulging a little bit of information about my personal life, not too much, but, you know, sharing some of my stories. in that way, because you know the background I come from, strict West Indian mother, you don't air your dirty laundry, you don't you know what I mean? You throw
Yes.
things up on the carpet and you go on. But I realized that that wasn't serving me, and so if it's not serving me, how many other women out there are needing an outlet to be heard and to be listened to, so to share? So that became more important than my fear or doubt. And there came a point around 2013, 2014, where it's like, this isn't about me, this is about getting this out there to people. So that was kind of really spurred me on. But I totally understand with authors, especially when you're divulging your life story. And I'm writing a fiction book at the moment, children's fiction book that I've been writing before I started Mr. Wrong. So there's a lot more, I think, fear and doubt around that, because it's the literary critique's going to think I haven't weaved together the plot properly, or the characters. So so you're always, it's descriptive enough. So you're always going to have that kind of trepidation or fear of doubt. But you live once, you just got to know by hook or by crook, you've got to do what you're going to do. And if you know your why, that's got to propel you forward,
Great, thank you. And with in terms of the support that you had to get to this point where you are now, I mean, did you have a mentor, or you were saying even with sort of Caribbean, West Indian attitudes about airing dirty laundry in public? I mean, did you have sort of family members or close friends that are supporting you? Did you have an official mentor, or did you sort of use informal ways to help you move forward?
I mean, it started off first of all when I was writing my book. No, I didn't have a mentor, but it kind of started to when I got into business. But when I was writing my book, it was all very much me in my room or in a coffee shop, writing. It was more when I decided to do a crowdfunding campaign to ask people to contribute in exchange for copies of the book, that I realised, wow, I've got a lot of support here. I had people contributing funds that I haven't seen for like 25 years. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So, and all from different places, different schools. I went to a couple of schools. So all different schools, different colleges, different places of work. And that's when I realised, actually, this is my foundation, my support. My little sister was amazing. She really helped me at the book launch. My dad was supportive. I think my mum was a bit like, okay, what you put in this book? So it was all right in the end. She was all right in the end. But as I kind of it transformed into a business, I did have some close people around me who were really beneficial, really helped me in terms of helping me to understand the business. At the moment, I'm part of a mastermind. I don't know if you know Bianca Miller.
Oh, yes, I've heard of her. Yes.
Yeah, part of their self-made mastermind that I started about 3 months ago. I'm finding that really helpful. It's like a refresher on branding.
Right.
And I've gone to a lot of workshops. I invested in myself, courses. I've been part of Simone Vincenzi's GTEx. I've also been to Juna Oguyemi's entrepreneurial academy, I think it is. So as a business owner, it's not enough just to have a great idea or concept. You've got to constantly be refining that and going out there, networking, meeting, learning about different trends, learning about your people within your industry. And it's important to get out there and have a mentor. Every good mentor should have a mentor. So
Great. I like that advice. And sort of where you're saying with regards to always sort of being out there networking and connecting with others, and is this kind of one bit of advice that you would give to other women who want to get into any kind of business, including your kind of publishing field as well, to always be refreshing and keeping yourself visible?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, networking is something that I need to do more of, because I found myself, and I know we're going to challenge this a bit more. I found that I've left my full-time job and created another job for myself. Plus, I'm the business owner of this job, and I'm like, trying to do too much. And so I wasn't really getting out. I was like, on my computer, on my phone, sometimes in bed, digital marketing, whatever, doing social media, like that. But I'm not actually going out there speaking, meeting people. And I've deliberately started to create times to be able to meet people face to face, have stalls, have workshops, go to networking events, educate myself in different areas of business, and meeting other people. Because when you're meeting someone face to face, you get that sense of that person and the energy, then rather than sending an email and maybe that person hasn't. Do you know what I mean? It's forging connections, and that's what I would say has been the most valuable thing for me, and the most important thing I would say to any business owner is to forge connections. Don't look to kind of, what can I get from this person, but create a relationship with key people in your field, or key people who have the audience, access to the audience that you need and you want, and make sure that that relationship is reciprocal. That would be my biggest advice, first and foremost. Connections. Otherwise, you're just an island by yourself.
Right.
With a great business plan.
And just again, going back to even kind of challenges along the way and getting started, and then, keeping the momentum as you have to keep things going. I mean, kind of the challenges that you've been up against, were there, kind of the typical challenges that business owners talk about, like getting a loan from the bank, or was it more kind of on the emotional side that maybe as a woman or a black woman that you felt there were barriers? I mean, what kind of challenges were you facing and how did you deal with them?
Oh my gosh, so many. I would say the biggest one is, I mean, maybe some more black women and barriers were more relevant when I was trying to fit into the commercial field or mainstream and get in there and get myself into that realm. Once my biggest belief is that if there isn't a door open for us, we've got to create it. We can't wait and sit and wait for someone to build a door for us. We've got to create that door. And since that, it hasn't been as visibly obvious that I'm coming up against these barriers because I'm answerable to myself. I've created a platform now, and yes, we're trying to get into retailers, which can be difficult. Firstly, as a self-published author and also as an independent publisher, I'm not Random House or HarperCollins. So as much as that would be great. So again, it's about, not growing a thick skin, not taking rejection personally, and just believing in your clients and what you're doing and your passion behind it, and making sure that you're creating products and books of value and of worth that are professional, so that nobody can say, oh, actually, that's a bit, that's not been edited properly. That's why we don't. So forging those connections with people who are, maybe a little bit in their stuffy mainstream world. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You've got a mixed race publisher coming to speak to them about different books. A lot of them are, Bain books, which are known of now. So might be slightly different to what they're used to having. So it's kind of breaking down that barrier and just keep going with it, really. Other things also have been creating balance in your business. At the beginning, I've always had a steady stream of clients, and I'm so grateful for that. But at the beginning, it was like myself, the typesetter in another country, and one editor. And I was doing some of the editing. I don't do that now. So, I'll be receiving information, trying to build my business, trying to create leads, trying to get out there, also working on books. So I was doing a lot of technical work, creating covers, speaking to cover designers, trying to get clients to build up my business. So it was almost like I was doing so many different things like an octopus in one go. And what I realized steadily but surely was that, number one, I had to increase my prices because it wasn't possible to, left my job full time. I'm charging really low rates because I'm just starting out. I don't really trust myself to really know. You know what I mean? You've got that a bit of an imposter syndrome there. Now I look back on the prices, I think, what the, and people pay the prices because people pay for value, So increase my prices, have less clients, and build your team. Another really important tip: as a business owner, you've got to build your team and make sure that those team members have similar values to your business as well. So my top ones are integrity, can't remember the professionalism, excellence, communication, passion, all of those things. Make sure your team have the same values, because otherwise there's going to be a bit of misalignment, and make sure that they've got the right skill set that you need, so that you're not doing everything and double checking, but going over what someone else has done. Because you've got to have that balance. You've got to have a bit of a life. You've got to have a life.
That's good to hear, because it sounds like you are just so busy all the time. So I think
I do rest. I did go to a spa on Wednesday. I went to Venus Spa.
Very nice. No, I'm glad to hear that. And when you're saying, like, for example, with your employees, kind of making sure they've got the same values, and that says to you a lot around the whole teamwork mindset, that of course you are the leader, you are managing, you are in charge, but you can't get there necessarily on your own. So you need to have those people in your corner with them values and mindset to go with you.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise you're just you're just gonna crash. You know, you're just one person driving this business forward, and if you don't have people behind you who, I mean, the best thing that I've ever done for my business actually was realizing, gosh, this is so much, I need help. They put out a plea on Facebook. Facebook's great thing, asking for a PA, but someone who's just starting out. And I found someone called Claire Lockie. She's amazing. Not only was she helped me with sort of organisation and creating beautiful Canva images and doing marketing, scheduling content, writing blogs, but she helped me. She was someone that I could sound off, because when you're working from home, sometimes, you know, it's just you and you know, people, you might talk to other people, but she was in the business and she would, you know, be a good sounding board. How about we do this for the business? How about we can bring up this time and do that? And she's an absolute asset. And now she's moved up a little bit now in our team, and she does a lot of our press releases and projects. So that was the start of really building the team. And yeah, I can't impress that anymore, just to make sure you've got the right people around you.
Great. And this is a great example as well of what, you know, we need more of, and especially I think as Black women in business, to hear what Black women like you talking about how they're leading a team and the ups and downs of getting there and creating it, that it's not just the perfect Instagram images that we see of women in business always succeeding, but actually the ups and downs of getting any kind of, you know, progress.
Yeah, it's, I don't know if you've seen the iceberg, so you've got like success on the top. And that's what everyone sees. They see everything, like you say, on Instagram or Facebook. And I think it can be really isolating for people starting out, or even businesses that have been going for a while and maybe they're getting a bit of a slump, because it doesn't show an honest, true representation of what happens behind the scenes. You've got this sacrifice, you know, that, you know, the life you lived before has got, I mean, no, and if you've got kids as well, it's a lot. So it's creating balance, it's sacrifice, it's a lot of your time is going to be taken up. If you're not passionate about what you do, don't do it, because, you know, the majority of your time is going to be taken up with creating this business. If you want it to be a success, creating this business, you've absolutely got to love it and know what your why is. The doubt that does happen, there are days where you're just like, this is too much, I can't do this. You know, the fear sometimes, the lack of funds. I'm blessed because I managed to get a startup loan from Virgin. That was just amazing, because everything was coming out of my pocket, and I look at it now, I'm like, how did I do? What was I'm glad I did, but you know, getting that funding, having access to funding, all of these things. There's so days where you're physically and totally and utterly exhausted, and I speak about that sometimes on social media. I'll say switch off time, and what I've learned again is having that balance, because too much of one thing, you're out of alignment with everything else. So making sure that you're looking after your health, you're eating properly. There's been times where sometimes I've been on my table at home and I've worked from like 8 in the morning, and then suddenly it's 6 o'clock and I realise I haven't eaten because I'm just trying to get stuff done. So just make sure that we're taking care of self as well, especially as Black women as well. We need to just make sure that we're looking after our mind, body and spirit, because it's tough enough out there, you know, it really is.
God, yes, I think we know we've never lived in a perfect time. I do think that there's so much that's got better for us, or that our mothers and our grandmothers' generation didn't have, but still, as you said, it's tough out there. And that makes me think of the next point with regards to, you know, the way you work with people to empower them to tell their story, and especially when you're working with Black women, to get their story out of them. How easy or difficult is that, you know, bearing in mind when you've got, kind of like you said, our mother's generation in the background that don't want the dirty linen out in public. How do you find that in kind of, you know, the Caribbean story or the African, or trying to get that story out of them?
Yeah, it's very different. So we've got all different types of authors, different generations as well. I was speaking today with somebody who called on behalf of her grandma, who wants to write about, you know, her coming over from Jamaica during the Windrush area, and how life was really tough for her in Jamaica and tough for her when she came here, but for different reasons, and the role of, you know, how a Black woman was seen in those days. So I haven't read the manuscript yet. I'm very much looking forward to it. We generally work with people who finish the first draft, and that's when we start, and we'll go into the editing process, and we'll have a bit of book coaching. I run workshops called The Power of Your Story, and that's for women who got these powerful stories, but they might not have started and haven't quite got it out. So first of all, we do a lot of mindset work and confidence work, especially when you're speaking about your personal story, and that fear and doubt is what holds a lot of us back. Or I don't want to, or maybe I shouldn't, I might upset that person, I might So it was just working on that, working through some of those barriers, and working on, there's not always just writing about a book, it's looking at belief systems. So we have, in that 3-day workshop, we have a session with one of our authors who's also a transformational coach. So she helps people release some of, first of all, identify what their fear is, and actually release some of those fears. So there's a lot of work around that, I think, certainly with people who are writing their own life stories, and they're talking about overcoming things like, you know, abuse or depression. There's a lot of stigma around mental health, you know, sexual abuse, all of these things come to the fore. And one of the things that I impress, they're really, really important, especially as women, that when we are writing, it's got to come from an empowered place. So when I was writing Mr. Wrong, I didn't have that bitterness, oh my God, and it was like, I'm the observer of my own life, and I'm saying it from a healed place, and I'm sharing my story because my intention is to help other people, not to feel bitter about things. So I always say to women, there's a difference between writing because you want to get out your story and it's cathartic and it's good for you, that's journaling, and then there's a difference between, you know, writing because you want to help somebody else or you want to share your story and it's coming from an empowered place. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, thank you. And it's just making me think so much of, again, what you're doing and how you're working is helping people in general, women, and then also our group, our Black women, to put things out there that is somehow going to touch or support somebody else, because you just don't know what other people are going through sometimes, or where they might need help to sort of get up and have a go at something.
Yeah. And also as well, just speaking about, you know, Black women and Black authors, in general, I've been doing a lot of research, and the stats aren't changing, and it frustrates me going to a lot of these events where, you know, I saw one recently advertised and they're speaking about diversity. It's the same Caucasian women discussing us, and it's like, we're here. So again, even though we've got these companies and we've got these Black authors, it's almost like they're doing this call out. It's like, hello, we're here. Why are you doing a call out for? And why aren't we here in positions of power? Why aren't we in the publishing industry? We should be the decision makers. We should be on the chair. We should be on the board of people who decide what comes in. And, you know, when I'm doing my research, I'm looking at a lot of these companies. I always look at the staff infrastructure, and I can't remember the stats off my head, but I'm talking about a teeny weeny amount of be it BAME, you know, people make up that higher echelons of those publishing companies. And also, if you look at children's books, 5% of them feature BAME characters, and out of that, only 2 of them are BAME protagonists. I think that plays a huge part as well in self-esteem, especially with authors, in the sense that because they're not seeing themselves as authors, they're not seeing themselves in these books, it's a subconscious message that, oh, your story doesn't matter. So this is why I do what I do. Look at this beautiful book, Dolly May and the Magical Enchanted Garden. It's all about Carol. She talks about her childhood in Jamaica, and she talks about a lot of the different fruits and vegetables, but within that garden, she pulls in different figures, key Black figures throughout history, to empower and educate young children so that we can see representations of ourselves. And things like I'm doing and things like the authors are doing just become the norm.
Yes. Yeah. And it is that thing, isn't it? It's the representation. It's the seeing faces that look like our own in these key or these sort of all parts of society. That's how I feel, that we shouldn't be just in music or in sport, which is brilliant because Black people, we are still achieving a lot in those fields, but we can be everywhere. And like you said, the representation, especially when our younger ones see, if they pick up a book and see these characters that look like them, that can then maybe change their whole path of where they're going to go. You know.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to any women, and especially Black women sat at home and think they've got a story to tell? What would be kind of the top 3 things that you would say to them to start doing to get their thoughts in the right place, or start getting that story, getting some notes down?
Yeah. The first thing I'd say is, first of all, really work out what your message is and what your why is. Your why is going to be your background. Why are you writing this? What's the purpose of this? What impact you want to have on your reader? Always shift the focus to the reader. So important. What is your why? Why are you writing it? Hold close to it. That's your little baby. Because when you start to feel fear and doubt, that's what's going to keep you on track. Also, think about who your target audience is. A lot of the times when I speak to authors or potential authors on the phone, when I do my 30-minute free consultations, I'll ask them who their reader is, and they're like, anyone, everyone. It's like, well, it's not really for everyone. It doesn't mean that anyone can't read it, but you're doing people a huge disservice by branding everyone the same. You know, the clearer you can be about your target audience, know where they go, where do they shop, what do they watch, where do they hang out, how can you get in front of them. You're going to do your research, and your language is going to change slightly according to who you're speaking with. So just know, or speaking to. So just know who your audience is, really, really important. Third tip is get some structure down. So if you're doing a life story, what I advise women to do is to think of your starting point and your end point. Write out your story. Imagine your story is like a film. So mark out those key moments in those life, those transformational moments, or these moments that really meant something to you that you're going to include in the book. Then think to yourself, well, if they're going to be called chapters, what am I going to call them? There you go, chapter headings, right? So then have 12 chapter headings written down in your notebook. Under each heading, have, if it's a fiction book, it will be different for non-fiction. Who are your key characters? What are the key events? What are the key themes? And if it's non-fiction, what is your key advice? What are the key themes? And also think about what is your message. So imagine each chapter is like its own book. What is that one key message that you want your reader to get from that chapter? And also to connect to them more, how do you want them to feel if they were to read that chapter? So it's creating a story and a journey throughout your book. And just once you've got that structure down, there's no excuse. You just got to start writing because you know what you're going to write about. You know, the worst thing is when you start writing, it's like, do you know what? I was talking about being 4 here. Now I'm talking about being 44, and now I'm talking about this. And you know, it's easy just to get off on a tangent, and then you don't do anything with it. So just have that structure down clearly first.
Brilliant, thank you. That's right. And of course, the very last bit of advice would be for them to get in contact with you if they want.
You can check us out on our website, www.publishing.com. I'm offering free 30-minute consultations. It's www.tinyurl.com/consultations2019. I'm on Instagram under Conscious Dreams Publishing, and Facebook, as well as what else on Twitter, Dreams Conscious. So just get in touch. Go over to the website. Most of the details are there.
Well, and I think we missed the website link. So if you say that again, the web address.
Oh, yeah, it's www.consciousdreamspublishing.com. So it's CONSCIOUS dreamspublishing.com.
Thank you. And before we go, as a last thing, I mean, anything exciting coming up that we can expect to see from you, or any events that we should look out for? What's next?
Okay, it's very interesting you say this, and if I say it, it means I definitely have to do it because I only decided that I was going to do this yesterday. So the aim is we're going to have an event for Black History Month, although it should be. We're celebrating our history all throughout the year, but you know what I mean? But it's going to be in October. The aim is for it to be in print. I haven't secured this, but I'm putting this out here. All of our authors are going to be there. We're going to be celebrating Black authors, books that feature Black protagonists, male and female, and there'll be some African clothing, food. So come down. I can't tell you where it's going to be or the date yet. It's going to be in October. That's going to be happening. The bigger dream is to have a conference. I'm going to put it out there as well, a global conference with women from all over the world. I want to speak to that woman from India, the woman in Indonesia, the woman in Jamaica, the woman in Sudan, get us all together and share our stories universally. That's the aim, a global women's conference.
Brilliant, fantastic. I'm excited just hearing it, and I know you're going to make it all happen. I know, I can tell from how you're talking. Thank you so much, and I'll definitely be watching, and I'm sure everybody else is going to be checking out your profiles as well. And keep doing what you're doing, keep representing, keep sharing the fantastic Instagram posts. I follow you, and I find it all very fun, but also very kind of informative about what you're what you're doing. So I'd say to anybody, that when they follow you, they get a real feel for what it is like to be running such a busy and vibrant business, you know. So thank you very much for doing
Thank you so much.
to share and for taking time to speak with me as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Esther. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
And no doubt, I'm sure we'll catch up soon, okay?
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
All right.
All right.
Take care. Bye. Right. Before you go, I will make sure this is...
Oh, I've turned you off.
Oh, you turned me off. Don't worry, don't worry. I'm going to...
I can hear you, but I can't see you. Is that all right?
Well, that's fine. I will edit this down so that we have the main thing, sort of 20 minutes or so, and then we have sort of 2 or 3 clips with some of the most... I mean, to be honest, it's going to be hard for me to choose, but I'll edit it down so we have sort of 2 or 3 kind of 3-minute pieces. So that people can watch short bits if they haven't got time to watch the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
But if you give me at least a week and I can get this done, and then I'll share the links with you. I can tag you when I put it out there as well. And then you can use this stuff wherever you feel as well you want to.
Awesome.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much as well. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll definitely be sharing the blog. If you can send me a link to your blog as well, because then I can highlight you. It's all about reciprocity.
Thank you.
Never say the words, reciprocity, that one.
Oh, thank you. Definitely. And I know we'll stay in touch and everything. Keep doing, you know, I really enjoyed speaking. And yeah, enjoy the rest of it, okay?
Yeah, we'll do, sweetheart. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.